Welcome back to Spirit Music Meetups. Mike Burris here. I'm going to have some fun right now. Behind the fun is the Holy Spirit. Well, this is from August 27th this month, and it was a prayer revelation. I was in the morning waking up and had this amazing revelation. I didn't want to get out of bed. I tossed a lot last night from dreams, so I'm going to read from my journal here. Okay. Before we get into this, this is pretty radical. I don't know if you can read that. Do not be conformed to this world. Absolutely. We are seeing that right now. Everybody wants to put ID chip on you. Either on your forehead, they actually have them, folks. They have this crystal ID check. They want to put it under your skin. They want to put it on your hand here or under your skin here, because they can do a retina scan metrics to verify your identity, and then you can buy or sell with that particular mark. That is an identification into a digital currency system that they're setting up right now. Mark my word, that's where they're going. I mean, it's all over. They're testing this in other countries, and they want to bring it into the United States. They're working on that digital currency right now. 40 different countries have signed an agreement to get rid of the U.S. dollar. It's going to collapse the U.S. dollar very soon. They want to use that as their trading basis for all their transactions in this world, all their financial transactions, all their purchases, and make the U.S. dollar go bye-bye, because they want to get rid of this competition of the United States. And who do you think's behind this? Who do you think's behind this? China, absolutely. So anyway, that's a political thing. I don't want to get into that. But we need to be separate. We need to be wise. Ask for the spirit of wisdom and understanding. We really need that right now. But this is about healing, profound healing. So if you're interested in healing, get a hold of me through the website, through this video. I'll put some information down in the description that you can do this. I'm trying to get some time to send this out to people on healing. I've had a lot of healings, divine healings, and the Lord keeps teaching me more about this. And also some people have sent me things that were just profound, that absolutely work. So if you're interested, let me know about that. Also down in the descriptions, there's a lot of verses that I'm going to reference. I'll put those down in the description, so you can really explore this for yourself. Ask the Lord when you read something, hey, how can I apply this to myself? And dig into it some more, so you can see that this is not just, me coming up with some crazy things. It's the same Spirit of the Lord that has spoken to people, in the first century and all through the centuries. I'm a big fan of history. I've read a lot of church history, 6 Bible colleges. I get really good at reading. So anyway, I tossed a lot last night from dreams that had me obsessing over pointless details. But this mirrored the last 2 days of my waking life. So a lot of times our dreams will become a reflection of what we're struggling with during the day. Hey, and we say, well, that's unprocessed information. This is just psychology and sociology. No, there's a lot written in the Old Testament and New Testament about dreams and visions, how God speaks to men and women through their dreams and visions. Actually, that is the promise in Jeremiah 31, 34, and many other verses, Acts chapter 2, verse 17 and 18, that God is going to communicate. That is prophecy. Prophecy means God is going to communicate directly to his servants, men and women servants. And this is the communication method of God during the new covenant church age, during the last days, because of the Holy Spirit is the one teacher. Jesus said there's one teacher, Matthew 23, verse 8. There is no other teacher. I know you keep seeing there's teachers in the New Testament, but Jesus says there is one teacher, the Holy Spirit of Jesus Christ. He is the one teacher. And that's the paraclete. The paraclete means the one who comes close beside, who counsels you, who teaches you. Jesus says, I am the wonderful counselor. And this is a prophecy from the Old Testament. And he says, now I'm going to give you another paraclete. Don't worry. Don't freak out. Don't think I'm going to orphan you when I leave this planet. This is very concerning to them, because every single rabbi in history always had scribes, people who wrote down everything that the rabbi spoke. And the disciples were students who would read these and debate them, mull them over, meditate on them, and then argue, actually. And then they would come back and ask questions. And they had whole volumes of this, so that when they went to teach, they would always say, according to Rabbi such and such and such and such. But Jesus never had a scribe. Nobody ever writing anything had, set down. This greatly worried them, because when it was time for him to leave and he was talking about this, they freaked out. They said, oh my gosh, how are we going to be able to carry on your ministry? We thought this was going to go on for a long time. But they had no writings. all the writings in the New Testament come in long after the disciples preached, years and years, at the end of their life. And we only have a few letters of all their millions of preaching sermons, just to the people, common people. So the writing is really an afterthought, and a lot of times you'll find for a specific reason, because they couldn't preach anymore. They're exiled, they're in prison, they can't get to a person directly, so they have to send a letter through a visitor. As a side note, so I tossed a lot last night from dreams that I had been obsessing over pointless details. So these just pointless details in these dreams that mirrored the last 2 days of my waking life. I felt restless, without peace, agitated, or pushed from one project or task to another, and at bedtime just exhausted and empty and separated from a sense of purpose and separated from the intimacy of a relationship with God. And this is, I was a workaholic in many careers, so this is an old trait, going from task to task. I got a lot done, but felt like that squirrel in the hamster cage, just going around in circles in the little hamster wheel. So that's what I went into my dream state with. So I bet many of you have felt this way, just 60-hour work week sometimes, right? Doing whatever, and you get to the end of the day and you go, what did I do? I can't even spell my name. Waking up from what also seemed like a senseless, restless night of sleep. I suspect that was fueled from eating too late and staying up too late, right? You can't stop working. I had a hard time focusing in prayer when I woke up in the morning. So I opened my hands up. Something the Lord showed me. Opened my hands up as a beggar poor for the Holy Spirit, which is the actual Greek meaning of the Beatitudes saying, which is, blessed are those who are poor in spirit. That is not a little s. Pneuma, with the definite article singular, is always the Holy Spirit. And poor there is beggarly poor. So it's not, I feel kind of sad. Has nothing to do with the whole context is about the kingdom of heaven. It's very little to do with you. So you got to always read words in context. So if you really read it carefully, it's talking about being beggarly poor. You're out there on the street, day in and day out, asking for food. You're asking for the Holy Spirit. You're poor, wanting the Holy Spirit. And they're the ones that are going to get filled, right? And I pulled these hands up near to my face while laying on my right side. The Lord showed me this, what's called kind of a fetal position of surrender, that this is what, like, bears won't attack you if you get into a fetal position, right? Curl your legs up. And I get into this position. The Lord showed me this fetal position is being a little child. The Greek there is, for many cases, the word little child means before reading age. And sometimes he uses another Greek word, which means infant, still feeding from mother. So this is a little child position the Lord has shown me. So I was laying on my right side like this, but in the vision I had it over here. So it's kind of interesting. It's almost like a mirror image. So it looks like one thing in the mirror, right? So the Lord showed me this position. When I did my page, I did a page on submission or surrender to God. So I'll put a link down in the description for you, as this has been very effective in what he showed me as an application of offering your members as instruments of righteousness, as Paul says in Romans chapter 6, verse 13 and 19. So I get in this position and I'm offering myself in submission under the Lord, surrendered under the Lord, subordinating, subjugated. I'm a subject under the Lord. And I'm offering, right, my body as a living sacrifice. Romans chapter 12, verse 3 is a good thing on that. But also, it's very effective, I found, in Psalms 46:10. Being still and quiet, Greek and Hebrew means that. Stop your activity. Cease your running around like a chicken with your head cut off. That's the context. They were trying to get ready for a war. They were running around with their heads cut off. So be still and quiet in order, the Greek is causative, the Hebrew is causative, in order to experientially, relationally know, it's a special word there, yada in Hebrew, Greek is gnosko, to know the Lord experientially. This has nothing to do with reading scriptures or book knowledge. I mean, they're in the middle of getting ready for a battle. He's telling, stop, get close to me. And this is also a very effective way in the Greek. It uses a word called dekamai, to warmly welcome, like somebody coming to with a kiss on the cheek, or greeting them with the firm handshake of fellowship, or at the doorway welcoming them into your house. So this is a way to warmly welcome the presence of the Lord as I eagerly seek him out by faith. Faith, Greek, means trusting in dependence, in a trustworthy and dependent one, never in a thing, always in a person, drawing very close to him so that he will reward. He's a rewarder of those who draw very close to him, who eagerly seek him out. As we do this, seeking him out, drawing close to him, very close to him in the Greek, he will do the same for us. And there's great verses on this, okay? So Hebrews 11:6, James 4:7-8. So I was in this position, patiently waiting, or attempting to, because I was in this kind of agitated state, right? So I was patiently waiting and watching. I'm watching, alertly watching. This is the Greek word, watching in prayer, right? Jesus always talked about watching in prayer. So I have a link on this. So this is a word is not supplication, not asking, not talking to God. That's a monologue. This is a conversational prayer where you're doing a lot of waiting and watching. Watching in prayer, waiting for him to speak to you, for him to show you a vision or a dream, right? A vision is waking state, dream is the same thing while you're asleep. So I was struggling. In this. So because of the agitation of my mind, and I was struggling in this, so I called out for the Holy Spirit as the Paraclete, which means close beside, there's that close beside, right? Close beside, counselor or helper, to call or summon close beside. So I'm doing this, I'm calling out to the Paraclete to be close beside me as a counselor or helper, to help me quiet down and stay focused on expecting the presence of Jesus to arrive at any moment. That's what faith is. Faith and hope are very closely related. Hope is just faith in a future event. That's all it is. Having trust and dependence and reliance, expecting a future event to occur. So they're very related. And you'll see that all through the New Testament. These things are very related. So I was praying for the Holy Spirit to help me quiet down and stay focused on expecting the presence of Jesus to arrive any moment, that my open beggar hands were expressing. I was in a fetal position, desperately conveying this. Right? So I'd recommend your body language. Tells you a lot about what's going on. So sometimes by having this body language, you're going to get your emotions in line. Hey guys, Mike Burris here with spiritmusicmeetups.org. If you missed a previous video or you want to see the next video, look up here and click on that. Also, all the videos and more details of this video are down in the .. more description below.